How's it going, everyone, and welcome to the Empire, which is very fitting for this episode because we got to look into the eyes of the Empire through the clones. This was such a phenomenal episode for Commander Cody and, more importantly, the man of the hour, Crosshair. Seeing these two work together in such a different environment that we're used to was really cool. I liked seeing their perspective and how Crosshair's day-to-day life has been since he joined up with the Empire. And it's kind of sad. He was stranded on a floating platform on Kamino for 32 rotations, until eventually being picked up, which honestly, the Empire probably only went back to check up on the planet and found him there, so they decided to take him in. The solitary clone features Commander Cody as a big part, and he's a fan favorite, but honestly, the title really is about Crosshair, an isolated clone in the Empire. There are so many things that separate him from everyone else. He's the only clone there without a chip in his head. He's seen as the oddball that the other clones don't like, and his armor is different from all of theirs. Rampart was even surprised to see that he returned to the Empire. Though seeing Crosshair hit some nasty shots this episode was such a highlight. Just look at this. But the episode was a great one and I'm excited to break it down. So let's begin. We start the episode off on a separatist world called Desix. Already we can tell that the animation has only increased, and this season has looked amazing so far. Just seeing the skyline of this planet and other small details throughout this episode really stuck out to me. So I applaud the animators for doing an incredible job. On this planet, we see them peacefully going about their lives, farming and sharing drinks, until an Imperial shuttle approaches the planet and we get a tonal shift when the Empire appears. Governor Groton exits the shuttle with a group of what look like a hybrid between clone and stormtrooper armor. It looks like the first official phase for stormtrooper armor, which is actually concept art for the original Star Wars by Ralph McQuarrie. So that was an awesome touch that I appreciate them bringing into canon and making it a thing. As the governor and his men make their way through the city, civilians all run in fear and hide. As usual, the Empire is taking control of a planet to assert their dominance over the galaxy, something we've seen them do many times before. It's interesting that in this episode we see the Empire taking over the Separatist world, since we've seen the Separatists do that as well in the Clone Wars, so it's pretty ironic. Governor Groton speaks with Tawny Ames, who is currently governor of Desix. Groton states that the Empire will be taking control of the planet, but Ames refuses to comply and activates an army of droids who are still functioning to surround the Imperial troops and are quickly outnumbered and taken prisoner. After this, we jump to a planet which looks very much like Coruscant, which would make sense as their main headquarters since Kamino is no longer an option and there's no Death Star yet. Crosshair wakes up and joins the other clones for breakfast. He attempts to sit near a group talking about the defensive recruitment bill, but they move away as he sits. You can really see how much of an outsider Crosshair is and how none of the regs really like him. Even Rampart doesn't really care for him, as they left him on Kamino without giving it a second thought. It shows that Crosshair is loyal, but I feel like his faith that he might have once had in the Empire is slipping. But for now, good soldiers follow orders. Before getting the chance to enjoy his food, he's summoned to Vice Admiral Rampart's office, where he's given a mission. Rampart informs Crosshair that he will be under a new commander. His mission is to rescue Governor Groton, which they'll do by being sent in as part of a fake diplomatic mission. At 0900, Crosshair arrives at the First Battle Memorial, which was a monument to honor all the clones who died during the Battle of Geonosis, which kicked off the Clone Wars. Crosshair is met by Commander Cody, his new commander. At first, he doesn't recognize Cody with his new armor, which, like Captain Wilco in the last episode, was stripped of all its unique color. Cody tells Crosshair that he requested him, and they also talk about how more clones have been questioning Order 66. Crosshair just calls them traitors like the Jedi, which makes Cody a little uneasy, but they move on and board the shuttle. After a brief given by Cody, they arrive on Desix, but are shot out of the sky by assault tanks. They crash on the outskirts of the city, and Ames sends scouts to search for survivors. A group of B-1 battle droids search the crash and find a few clones who didn't survive, but the rest of the droids are taken out by Cody and Crosshair before they can even report back to the city. Even with wounded clones, they move towards the city on foot. They're met with a patrol on the bridge. While Cody moves into position, Crosshair covers them, and we get an awesome scene where Crosshair snipes into the barrel of an AAT and destroys it. Of course, more reinforcements come, but they're no match for Crosshair and Cody. They come to realize that the droids are being ordered by a tactical droid, so Commander Cody orders Wyler and Nova, two other clones, to come with him and Crosshair to sweep the city and find the droid. The clones Wyler and Nova both had interesting features. Wyler was a flame trooper, and Nova carried a backpack of detonators. His name could also be an Easter egg for Nova troopers, who were stormtroopers assigned to specific locations and usually only seen during invasions or imperial ceremonies. Their armor was black and gold to distinguish them from others. We then get an awesome battle through the city where the clones are hunted by droidekas and battle droids. The action in this episode was awesome, and the fights just look amazing. Seeing them figure out unique ways to take out the droidekas was fun to see. Usually the clones have a Jedi working with them to help fight droidekas, but now that it's just them, they can't really rely on help. Seeing them sweep through the city and move in like a unit reminded me of playing Battlefront 2 with a squad and just destroying droids. So it was really cool to see them checking corners and watching each other's backs. After unfortunately losing Wyler and Nova, they eventually make their way to the main tower where the TAC droid is hiding away. We see Ames dispatch a group of BX commando droids as a last attempt to stop Cody and Crosshair. But the two clones battled their way up a spiral staircase fighting off the wave. Seeing Crosshair hit some cool trick shots was sweet, especially when Cody throws one of the reflectors and Crosshair ricochets a blast off and takes out the tactical droid. They reach the top of the stairs but don't find Groton anywhere, until Ames appears with him as hostage. She demands they leave the planet and wants the Empire to recognize Dexys as an independent system in exchange for Groton and his troops. This part is really interesting and the main reason why we see Cody go AWOL by the end of the episode. He debates with Ames that the Empire is not the enemy, and that they are trying to establish peace and security throughout the galaxy. Ames said she once believed in peace and even supported Senator Mina Bontiri's diplomatic efforts to end the war, but Chancellor Palpatine rejected it. Cody then sets his blaster and helmet down and promises to negotiate peacefully to prevent another war. She eventually trusts Cody and lets Groton go, who immediately orders them to execute her. This really shocks Commander Cody and flips his entire perspective on the Empire. What he's believed about them has just been shown to be wrong. Eventually, Crosshair takes the shot, which just leaves Cody in disbelief of what just happened. Throughout the Empire's rule, Cody believed that what they were doing was right, and even though some of the things they did were questionable, it was all for the greater good. But after this mission, I think he finally realized why there were so many clones disobeying Order 66. I don't think he'll fully flip to working with the Bad Batch and Rex again, but I think he's definitely aware of the Empire's true intentions and sees that they aren't establishing peace, which is why we see him go AWOL shortly after this. We see the planet is now under Imperial rule just like Jeddah. Stormtroopers now patrol the city and round up the civilians. Cody and his men get on their shuttle to head back to base, but before they go, he takes a look around and watches more stormtroopers land. Now back at the battle memorial, Cody asks Crosshair if they're making the galaxy a better place, but Crosshair just states that they're following orders. That's when Cody reminds him how they're different from battle droids because they're able to make decisions for themselves and they have to live with them. We cut to Crosshair going through the same routine he went through at the start of the episode. Sit up, eat, then report to Rampart's office again. Rampart gives him another assignment with a new commander and lets him know Cody went AWOL. Rampart questions the loyalty of the clones, then dismisses Crosshair. He leaves for his next mission and the episode ends there. This was a really interesting episode and one of the best ones we've seen so far. I feel like the most obvious change was in Cody, but Crosshair has a more subtle change. Nothing we'll see right away, but I bet by the end of the season, we'll see him regroup with the Bad Batch and leave the Empire. This episode really showcased Crosshair and how he's all alone in the Empire. He's the only one without a chip in his head, and he's the odd one out. I hope he gets a redemption arc, because those are great when done right, and I think Dave Filoni knows what he's doing. But that's all for this episode. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments, and make sure to subscribe and join the Empire today. Remember, good soldiers follow orders. And I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you, my friends.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. You're not a Jedi yet.